So, your introduction. It's really, really important. It's one of the most important things you're going to be writing in your article. And that's what it should do. It should grab attention, establish your argument. So, your opinion should be clear. It should set the tone nice and clearly. And it should set the standard as well. It's like a taster for the examiner. You're in for a treat. Get ready because I'm about to write something amazing. You can also use anecdotes really nicely in your introduction. So I'll show you an example of an anecdote that you might, a style of anecdote you might use. So again, this is linking to this task here about sport. I did not like PE when I was at school. I hated carrying my kit around. I hated the stench of the changing rooms. I hated the convoluted rules. I hated the scuffed knees. I hated how my legs would turn purple during outdoor lessons in the winter. I loathed it. But what I loathed the most came in year 9, when I learned that girls were no longer allowed to play rugby. This information infuriated me. Not because I wouldn't get to play, I haven't touched a rugby ball since I was 13, but because it was a clear message to all the female students at my school. This sport isn't for you, whether you like it or not. So what I've done here is established a personal connection to the statement. I've established a reason for writing about it. Again, if I'm imagining that I'm a writer, a real writer, writing an article in a newspaper, there must be a reason I'm writing that article. I want to express my point of view. So I'm making it clear what my personal connection is to this topic. And in this case, this idea of hating PE, but wanting a sense of fairness as well. So where would I get my marks? So even though this is just my introduction, I'm already getting credit for all of these things. These are just the first part of my assessment, and this is what I'm getting marks for. So a variety of sentence structures. So I start off with a simple statement. I did not like PE when I was at school. And then I've got a very long list that follows. So I've got a variety of sentence structures. I've got judicious vocabulary choices. I've chosen my words really carefully. Words like loathed, which means hate, infuriated, to be made furious. Again, they're not fancy words, but they are very, very specific in their meaning. I've also used language devices like listing. There's a very long list here, just to emphasize how much I hated PE at school. I've also got things like repetition, and the whole thing is an anecdote. It's a personal story, an anecdote. I've got a range of punctuation because I've got some brackets in there. I've got my apostrophe. I've got commas. And my argument is really clear and my point of view. I don't like sport, but I don't like it when it's not fair, even more. So all of that is very clear. I'm already getting marks for it. So what about a conclusion? So they are your final thoughts and a summary of your argument. Ideally, it should link back to the start. So I will give you an example of what I mean by that shortly. So it should link back to the start if you can, bringing everything back round. It makes everything feel finished and complete. Question 5, it is essential that you finish. If you don't finish, it's not like a real article. It won't feel convincing. You have to set that time apart to finish it. I'd recommend doing question 5 first, by the way. You are fresher. You are thinking about SPAG a little bit more, spelling, punctuation, and grammar. It's 45 minutes for this question. Spend the full 45 minutes writing and finishing. So hopefully you get to show off in your conclusion. So it should linger in the reader's mind as much as possible. So I know it's idealistic to wish for a sport to be completely fair and open to all. But why shouldn't we at least aim to make this happen? Why shouldn't we try to tackle corruption and greed? Why shouldn't we make sport more appealing to more people? Each generation of the human race has always striven to grow and be better than the generations that came before them, and I believe that improving equality, accessibility, and morality in the sporting world is one way we can keep pushing for progress. I'll fight for this for the Year 9 girls who were denied rugby at school. I'll fight for this because I believe humans deserve fairness. If you believe that we can be better as a generation, and if you love sport, then I think you should fight too. So I've got my reference to those Year 9 girls who I referenced in my introduction, and that links everything back to the beginning. So I'm kind of rounding everything off nicely. It's like a little bow, tying it up. Your question 5 is a present for the examiner. I've also got lots of language devices, so I'm getting marks here as well. So again, sentence structures, because I've got things like questions. I've got careful, judicious vocabulary choices. Words like equality that are quite emotive, make people care. I've got language devices. I've got a fancy one called anaphora. Anaphora is where you repeat the phrases at the beginning of a sentence, or repeat words at the beginning of different phrases. So I'll fight, I'll fight. I've also got inclusive language, this idea that if you believe, then I think you should fight. So I'm talking directly to my reader to say, come on, get involved. Again, my argument is clear and my point of view is clear. So I've ended on this idea of involving people and encouraging people to get involved because I care and I want the reader to care too. So the final thing, after you've written your conclusion, you've got to proofread. Never think this is a waste of time. Lots of students, I think, panic if they're not writing, then they're wasting time. Not at all. Proofreading is where you can make sure you have solidly got those marks. So dedicate about 5 minutes, if maybe more, to read your work carefully. Some students find it helps to read backwards, so a paragraph at a time backwards, or even sentences backwards, because it slows you down. If you work forwards in the regular way that you would read, sometimes you miss things because your brain expects to see certain words in certain orders. So maybe work backwards if that helps for you. You are checking your spelling, punctuation, and grammar. You're checking your word choices are accurate and effective. So don't just fling in a word because it's helpful or fancy. Use a word because it fits. Check your paragraphs are all accurate. If you don't use paragraphs, I think you're limited about 5 out of 24 for content. You want content and organisation, and you want more than that. You've got to check your overall argument and your ideas and examples are all believable. So everything should all fit together, it should all be interesting, and hopefully you should feel really proud of what you put together, because it's a hard question, there's lots to remember.
A few moments later.
If you're looking to have some tuition sessions with Hannah, her link is in the description below of this YouTube video. It should be nice at the top. So if you do want to check out Hannah's profile on Sherpa and inquire about tuition sessions with her, you can through that link. Alternatively, if you're looking for another tutor in maybe maths or physics or whatever it may be, head onto the Sherpa website. We've got tutors, thousands of tutors in all different subjects. So have a look, see if there's a tutor that's right for you, or alternatively, give one of our tutor experts a call on 01628 337 590. But yeah, thanks again, Hannah. It was brilliant. And cheers, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.